So 2025 is upon us, and in this video, I'm going to talk about some things that are on trend that we are going to stick to in 2025, and then things that are out that we're leaving behind in 2024. So let's go ahead and jump in and welcome. If you are new, my name is Jessica. I am an expert vetted Upworker, which means I'm in the top 1% of all freelancers on the platform. In case you're like, who is this Jessica girl? Does she even know what she's talking about? And yes, I do. Let's first start with things that are out that we are leaving behind in 2024. So the first thing is going to be spam email marketing. Notice that I said spam. Email marketing, yes, there's a time, there's a place for it. It can be a very effective marketing strategy, but not spamming people. We do not want to spam people. People are smarter than that, and nobody wants just like a random cold email blast. There's more efficient and effective strategies that you can deploy in 2025 that are going to get you better results, and you don't have to spend as many resources, as much effort as doing like a spam email campaign. So we are leaving spam email marketing behind in 2024. The next thing that we are leaving behind in 2024 is just posting on social media to check the box. I know when you see posts on Instagram, when you see posts even on TikTok or all the other platforms where you're like, did they really put a lot of time and effort into that? Or are they just simply posting to be consistent, posting to get the algorithm on their side, just kind of posting to check a box? No, people can see that from a mile away, so we are not doing that anymore. I would rather that you post fewer times per week, but have them be higher quality than just posting 5 times a week just to check a box. That's not how you're going to build a brand. That's not how you're going to build community and provide value. You have to step up your content game. I hate to break it to you, but content is evolving so insanely fast. I would argue you have to adopt a video first strategy just to keep up, just to be competitive. Like, that's a standard now. Next is incorporating like entertaining content. We are seeing this shift even from 2024 to 2025. I am seeing the level of creativity in content starting to set a standard. Like, you have to spend the time to put together an interesting video that provides value and is also entertaining. If you notice, if you're scrolling even on LinkedIn of all platforms, the hook has to really engage you first and foremost, and it has to be a little clickbaity in a sense. Like, I see the best performing posts are a little clickbaity. They have a really strong hook. They're entertaining at their core. That's the type of content that gets people to share. That's the type of content that gets a brand to be memorable in the eyes of a follower. Like, that's how you're going to get from A to Z, is creating really interesting, entertaining content. So no longer can you just post to check a box. So we're leaving that in 2024. So speaking of creating social content that just checks a box, in 2025, we are not using ChatGPT to write our captions. Now, let me explain. So ChatGPT is evolving, it seems like, by the day, and there's other AI platforms out there that can assist you with writing captions. Great. So with these tools in mind, there is no reason that your caption shouldn't be good. Right? If you just type in a basic prompt into ChatGPT and you get just like a basic output, the quality of the output is going to be based on the prompt that you give it. So you have this insane tool at your fingertips. So you should not be cranking out these AI sounding captions. If it doesn't sound like a human, you're not posting it, because everybody and their mother can tell if it is generated by AI or if it's not. So I'll give you an example. The word delve. Have you ever heard someone just say delve? I've delved into that. No, that is an indicator to me they used ChatGPT. It's an unhuman-like word that nobody uses. There's another one out there. Boost, like boost engagement, boost growth, boost revenue. Yes and no. I typically have never used the word boost just in a conversation before. So to me, that's an indicator like ChatGPT wrote that. So what you're going to do then is if yes, you are going to use ChatGPT, no judgment, that's fine. Then you have to tell it to sound like a human. Tell it to match the brand voice of, the content that you're posting. So there's no excuses. You cannot just generate these like AI sounding captions. Use ChatGPT in the right way to get the captions that will build trust, build brand loyalty. And the last thing that we are leaving behind in 2024 is super polished content. Now, let me explain. You have probably seen this shift in 2024, this shift from content that's super polished, high production, whatever, to like being really real and really authentic. Now, it really depends on your brand, your mission, all these other factors, but people want and people crave this like human-like content, this real, this raw content. So this is good. This is really, really good. This is almost freeing in a sense that you have more creative room to work with. You have more creative ideas to test. So you can post something that's a little bit more raw, a little bit more real, and just see how it does. You're not really confined to that same box in 2024. So you have more creative freedom when it comes to 2025. The only thing that I would say is just make sure it matches the brand. So yes, you can be vulnerable, you can be super creative. Just make sure it feels in line with the brand. It feels in line with your mission, because followers are going to catch on to that. If it feels misaligned, it feels out of alignment, like that's not going to do your brand any favors. So just make sure it aligns with your mission, aligns with your brand and what you're trying to achieve. But this is nice. It gives you a little bit more creative freedom to work with in 2025. So next, let's switch gears. Let's talk about what is going to be in 2025. What should you be focused on? So the first thing is going to be an omni-channel approach. Now, first of all, you're probably like, omni-channel, like that's such a jargony like marketing term. I basically just mean diversifying the risk, that you are not going to be focused on one specific platform. You're going to take the time to make sure you are active on all the platforms. Now, the main reason behind this is, like I said, to diversify the risk. We saw this with TikTok. All these content creators were saying their farewell videos. I mean, TikTok's back up and running, but you saw like a lot of these creators had built their brand on TikTok. TikTok was their main source of revenue. And then all of a sudden, TikTok gets pulled underneath their feet, obviously back now, but you get what I'm saying. It's like they took the time and put all their eggs in one basket, the TikTok basket. So in 2025, you're going to take the time to be active on all the different platforms. The one caveat to that is to make sure whatever platform you're on, make sure your target audience is on there. Like, it truthfully doesn't make sense if you are trying to target insurance brokers and you're looking on TikTok. Obviously, do the research on that. I'm not super familiar, but like just make sure whatever platform you're posting content, your target audience is there. But very, very likely they're going to be on multiple platforms. And so you want to diversify the risk of your content by being on multiple platforms. Yes, it might take a little bit more work. Yes, it might take some extra research, but you need to do your due diligence because that's going to set you up for success. Like, you should never, ever be dependent on just one platform for lead generation, for new clients, for brand recognition, whatever it is. Just be smart and diversify. So the next thing that we are taking into 2025 is this idea, this mentality of testing content. We are experimenting with different types of content. This is a hill that I will die on, if that's even the saying. But I think testing takes away the pressure because, first of all, there are proven strategies out there. Yes, strategies, tactics, formulas, yes, and they can have a very high likelihood that they're going to work for your business, but until you actually implement them into your business, you start sending out those emails, you start posting on social media, and you gather data, that's when you know for sure if it's going to work for you and your business. Yes, you're going to test with all the metrics and make sure it's a very methodical approach, but until you actually do it yourself, you don't know for sure. So the second reason I like testing is it kind of takes away the pressure. I know a lot of my clients, like, they post something and like, oh my gosh, it's going to go viral. I'm so excited. Or like, I'm nervous. I have a lot of anxiety because I don't know how it's going to perform. We're taking all of that away. We're just looking at this as an experiment. This is a scientific experiment, and we're just going to test it, and we're going to see if it works, and we're going to gather data, we're going to gather feedback, and we're going to adjust from there. Simple as that. So that's how we're going to think about creating content. That's how we're going to think about sending emails and deploying all these different marketing tactics. Is we're just going to be testing. We're just going to be testing, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, okay, we're going to go back to the drawing board. It doesn't have to be this big, audacious goal of building a content empire and building a multi-million-dollar company through content, or whatever goal you want to achieve. We're just starting small, and we're being very intentional and very thoughtful with the content. So I think that's the mindset that we have to take into 2025. The next thing that we're going to do in 2025 is we are going to obsess over our data. We are going to be tracking everything that can be tracked so we can start to understand what our numbers are and then how to make really smart, data-driven decisions. So let me bring it back down to earth. So let's say you're sending out an email campaign for the very, very first time. So you don't even know what success looks like, what failure looks like. So then we're going to do some research and we're going to figure out, okay, great, what is a good industry standard for an open rate? And let's say it's 30%, which I actually think 30% is about average. So now we have a baseline. Now we kind of can start to understand, okay, great. If I get 30%, I'm about average. And then you can obviously improve on that. Or if for whatever reason, if you get like 5%, you're like, ooh, we failed on this, but that's okay because now we have the data to move forward. So we are going to obsess and we're going to track everything that we can track so we can start to understand our numbers and therefore start to improve on the numbers. And I always recommend tracking your numbers on a weekly basis so you can keep a really close pulse on what success looks like, what it doesn't look like. And so then you can start to be proactive about different strategies and different tactics you're going to deploy to make sure you are hitting those goals. So we're going to be very data-driven and very data-minded in 2025. So the next thing to keep in mind for 2025 is to be really real and authentic in your content. In the world of AI, in the world of ChatGPT, we have a lot of resources at our fingertips, and it's really, really easy to tell if something is AI generated, which makes us crave authenticity and creativity. And I think if you have those two skill sets, you are just going to stand out. You're going to stand out from the rest. You're going to get through to the types of customers that you want to get through to. So just being really real and authentic in your content, being human, like admitting your struggles or just showcasing what it takes to build a brand, what it takes to actually get traction. I think just taking this mentality of being really authentic into your content, whatever that means, and just being okay to talk about the challenges. I think that's very, very compelling from a brand perspective. If you can be really open and you can be really honest and transparent with here's what we're struggling with or here's how we're succeeding, but just starting that conversation and being really authentic in what you post. I see a lot of brands that are super successful on social media because they are authentic. Eat Dough is one of my all-time favorite social media brands because they do this really, really well. They're real, they're human, there's mess ups, and they talk about it. They really talk about it openly and they share what they learned from it, their lessons. They turn it into a fun, entertaining piece of content. So they're really creative, but just leaning into being more authentic and more real in your content, even if it's from like a founder-led marketing strategy or just like a brand strategy. I think authenticity can translate. Doesn't even matter what your brand is, but you can be authentic in showing up with your content. And one of the reasons I'm just harping on content specifically is because content is that top of funnel. That is the brand awareness. That is going to get more leads and more customers into your door. So content is such an amazing way to do that. So it could be through social media content, paid or organic. It could be through email marketing content. Like whatever you have to do in terms of strengthening and kind of widening your top of funnel, your brand awareness strategy to getting more people into your funnel, into your ecosystem will help you ultimately land more customers. So that's why I just keep harping on it. It's very, very important to leverage the brand awareness strategy so you're bringing in more leads to your business. And the last thing I think we're going to see more and more of in 2025 is founder-led marketing. And I am a huge, huge fan of founder-led marketing because it builds that personal connection. Like, people want to connect with other people. Society is just so over these like big, huge entities, these big corporations, these faceless brands where you're like, who am I even talking to? What are you even trying to do? And they specifically connect with humans. They want to talk to humans. And I've done a lot of videos on this topic and I feel very, very passionate about it because it can work and I've seen it work firsthand with a lot of my marketing clients. So I would say leaning in as much as you can to a founder-led marketing strategy, a founder-led sales strategy, a person-to-person connection can be incredibly valuable. So I think we're going to see more and more of that in 2025. Well, I hope you all thought that was helpful. We talked about what we are leaving behind in 2024 and what we're taking into 2025 in terms of marketing trends. So let me know if you guys have any questions, and I will see you in the next one.